Ready?
Yep.
Hi, you want to make a Scandinavian gnome or Santa or Grinch tree? I'm Tina Bemis from BemisFarms Nursery, and I'm going to show you how. All of them are done the same way to start. And you start with this pot of compost that we have here and a tomato cage. We had to bend it a little bit to get it in the pot so that it would fit in there, but it's a nice sturdy base to put this thing on so it doesn't blow over in the wind. As a matter of fact, in case I forget, after this is all made and you go to put it where you're going to put it, fill it with a whole bunch of water, and that'll make it weigh even more so it doesn't blow over in the wind. If it's going to be out in the open, might be a good idea to pound a stake into the ground and attach the stake and the gnome together so it doesn't blow over. But if it's on a porch or in the corner of your deck or something like that, you won't need to, but just be aware that they can blow over in the wind. All right, so what you do is you start with this frame here, and you bought one of our kits. It comes with 6 pounds of balsam. And what you'll want to do, and this is this wonderful smelling evergreen. And it smells like Christmas in here. I wish you could smell it. You take a half of the greens and put them off to the side so that you can make sure that you have enough to make it around the whole frame. You start with your roll of wire and you attach the wire to the frame. It doesn't really matter. I've got it around this lower ring here, the upper ring and this piece here. Doesn't matter as long as it's just attached. And you're going to start with one piece of balsam. You want to touch the tip of the balsam to the ground or the table, whatever you're working on, and go ahead and just wire that one on. And then it depends on how comfortable you are. You can put one at a time and put a ring all the way around, wiring each one on, and you can wire it to the frame on the top upper pieces or the ring on the bottom, or just to the other branch that's next door. It really doesn't matter. If you get used to it and you're not intimidated by holding a few branches at the same time, you can put 2 together and wire them on. Now there's 2 sides to the greens. There's a side that's dark green and there's a side that's blue green. I like to use the dark green side out. I just think it looks a little bit better. But you can see, I'm going to show you here on this piece here. This is backwards with the blue green, and that's the darker green. This piece got twisted. You can see the difference. There, that's the front side there. And this might have a little bit of a swoosh out. I like them like that. Some people take that swoosh and turn it in. They like that look better, but I happen to like it looking more like a natural Christmas tree. And so all you do is put a ring all the way around. Just wire it, wire it, wire it, wire it, wire it. That's going to use about half the greens. Then I like to think of this as the gnome wearing pants and a shirt. So instead of building up a little bit at a time, you've already made his pants. Now if you want this thing really high, you're going to make his shirt. And his shirt comes up higher like this. You will overlap the pants a little bit, like what's the non-tucked in look. So it does overlap, but it's going to go up higher than the tomato cage and just come up basically as high as you want it to. So I'm going to just show you what that looks like, because through the magic of YouTube, I've made one already, and you won't have to wait. So I'm too short, so I've got to do the rest of this with this guy down lower. But you can see what it looks like. I made this one ahead of time, and he's got his pants all the way done. He has part of his shirt done, and because there's several different ways to do the top. If you're going to do Lief, L-E-I-F, the red-capped gnome, he kind of has a straight hat. And so it doesn't really matter. And because he has a hat covering, a red hat covering, it doesn't matter what kind of scraps you use here. If you've got stuff that doesn't have good greens on it, you can just stick it on because he's going to have a red hat. If you have Sven, Sven is our moss-capped gnome, and we're going to wire some moss around. And Sven, it's kind of cool to have him have his hat kind of bend around with a little nubbin on the end. And I'm going to show you how to do that. The Grinch tree also has a curve to it, but Santa has a hat that's straight. Santa doesn't have a curved hat. So you'll need to know which one you're working on or what you want. And then you just keep building up. And if you have some soft pieces, put this piece here, I'm going to show you how to bend it around to get the one that you want. If it's bent, just wrap, wrap, wrap. Wire will bend like this, and you can just keep adding more and more pieces to this. And you can make this as narrow or as thick as you want. When you run out of greens, that's the end of what you've got. So if you want it really, really, really thick, if you want his hat really thick, if you're making Sven with the moss, then you probably stop your gnome a little bit shorter so that you can have extra greens to make his hat thick. And if you run him really, really, really tall and narrow with just a little bit of a curve at the top, then you can do that too. It's 100% up to you. So there's my little curve. The good thing with lots of wire is it allows you to bend it even more. So I'm just going to go with that one there for now. And that's how you make the base. And if you're going to make Sven, the moss cap, then your kit has some moss in it. And I start at the top and just wind this moss around and wire it on, starting from the tip backwards until you're out of moss. And then that's Sven, and Sven gets, let me just look because I can't remember all the time. Sven gets a beard. So his moss cap ends, and you can wire this on, or you can just shove his beard underneath his cap. And that's his beard. He gets a nose right underneath the moss, and then he gets a little doodad at the end of his hat. So that's Sven, the moss cap gnome. If we have Lief or Santa, their top is straight. And Lief, like my Scandinavian names, Lief gets this pointy hat. And he can be straight or it can be curved, whichever way you want to do it. And he gets a nose. He doesn't get a beard. He just gets a nose. And he gets one of these guys at the end of his hat too. So that's Lief, but he also gets mittens. Oh, I goofed. Sven gets a gold nose because he has a red hat. Sven gets the gold nose. And then there's a pattern in here for you to cut out his mittens, and you can just cut out the mittens, and you can wire these mittens on, just poke a little hole into the felt and give him 2 mittens, and you can just wire his nose. And you want to get that guy just tucked up underneath his hat. It looks really cool like that. So that's Lief, the moss cat gnome. We got Lief and we got Sven. Santa has a beard, because Santa has to have a beard. So Santa gets the beard. Santa gets Santa hat, because he's Santa. I'm going to make this one a little bit shorter. I'm just going to bend that down. There's Santa with his Santa hat and his beard. Santa gets a nose. Santa gets a belt that goes around his middle, underneath his beard, with a little belt buckle there too. So that's Santa. And then the last one is the Grinch tree. And the Grinch tree is just left open. There's no hat. And this one definitely has to have a curve because it's a Grinch tree. And then the Grinch tree just comes with all kinds of cool ornaments to put on. There's these 60 millimeter ornaments, and there's 40 millimeter ornaments, and there's 30 millimeter ornaments. And these guys you can just wire on all over the place. And then everyone has 5 of these little cool little circle canes, and these guys go all around. And then you've got one giant ornament, and some people hang it from the end, and some people hang it from the middle. But it's all up to you what you want to do. And there's also some Grinch ribbon that goes around on that. So all of the bases are the same. We have one way to do all of these, to design them. But really, folks, we want you to use your imagination. Take the ingredients in the kit and make it your own. And send us your pictures and put them on Facebook. Have fun. Thanks.